Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Upali Vidnapathirana, Dean of the School of Business, Professor Ranasinghe, colleagues at the School of Business, students, invited guests, and the members of the newly formed Alumni Association. I bring to you greetings from the President and CEO of CALL, Sir John Daniel, and the Vice President, Professor Asha Kanwar, on this very important occasion. Let me begin by congratulating you all on the establishment of the Alumni Association, which is an important component of any forward-looking and growth-oriented business school. Open University Sri Lanka is among the first members of the CEMBA consortium to take up this welcome initiative, which I'm sure will go a very long way in creating a vibrant, contributing network for the coming generations of management graduates of this university. As the members of the industry joining this Alumni Association would be well aware, we in the management profession are passing through challenging times. In the aftermath of the global economic crisis, the value of management education has been seriously questioned, and issues like failure of good governance, accountability, ethics have been brought center stage. Interlinked global environment has created resultant high-risk perceptions which are based on factors beyond the control of corporates and policymakers. Some of you would have seen the seminal research work by 3 Harvard Business School professors, Professor Datar, Professor Garvin, and Kala, on rethinking MBA, and another one by Robert French and Christopher Gray on management education for the 21st century. I would like to share some inputs from these works on the trends that are likely to shape management education in times to come. Some needs that have been identified as requiring a sharp focus to create effective managers for the evolving environment of business today include some of the following. Because they are working in the global village, managers need to gain a global perspective. They need to hone and sharpen their leadership skills. They have to have better grip on integration skills, a better job of recognizing organizational realities, and tightening implementation has to be done. Because we live in an environment of very dynamic changes, there has to be a focus on creativity and constant innovation. We need to think more critically and need to communicate that thinking even more clearly, because the soft skill of communication is still found to be lacking. Managers need to clearly understand their own role and responsibilities, as well as the purpose of business, and constantly redefine what business are we really in. Business decisions are based on underlying assumptions and risks which are constantly changing. Therefore, we need to constantly redefine them. There are multiple sources of error in decision making, as the crisis has amply shown. So we need to constantly learn about these decisions and need to create safeguards so that recurrence of these errors does not happen. Your CEMBA program has a certain plus factor in that the program provides a global perspective instead of one limited to local realities. You in the alumni network can add a critical value by providing the required exposure to organizational realities and sharing insights on sources of errors in your decision making, on underlying risks and assumptions that shape these organizational decisions. In terms of design of the program and required pedagogy, the research by Harvard professors identified the following trends. There is the ongoing debate on whether the program should be standardized or have differentiation. You would notice, if you look at the curricula of the major programs, that the core of the required courses, which constitute about 40 to 55% of the curriculum, do not vary much across the top schools. However, pedagogy and the way the programs are addressed is found to differ significantly, and so is the role of technology, which could add major value to the program. The program architecture in terms of the structure, the sequence, and the requirements are very, very different across schools. There is today a far greater degree of flexibility that is offered in terms of the type of electives, combining of specialization, and additional credits that you can take. There is an added focus on group work, team-based projects, and innovative approaches to leadership, innovation, globalization, and risk management. There is, again, a felt need that the focus on creativity, communication, and implementation skill is still missing from most of the programs. Your own program, the CEMBA program design, provides for significant creativity in the way technology can be utilized for effective learner support and learner interaction. And you could actually carve a competitive position out of that support. Learning management systems like Moodle, available today, can enable learners to undertake group problem-solving exercises and team-based activities like online case discussions and threaded discussions on emerging issues in your region that require wider discussion. As majority of the students in this program are working manager, we also have the great opportunity of learning through peer interaction and sharing of organizational issues and problems from a wide variety of organizations. This is a very significant resource, and I think we should capitalize on it. The Harvard Business School study also identified some critical gaps between what the industry needs and what the business schools produce. For example, there is a gap between business school academic research and the knowledge requirements of practicing managers. There is a great degree of academic emphasis on analytical frameworks and quantitative techniques, whereas what is required is soft skills and organizational skills. There is a great focus on learning and knowledge in management programs, whereas the industry needs people to do things, and they find managers are sometimes weak on learning to do rather than learning to know. Again, while there is a focus on risk bearing, there is a lesser focus on stakeholder accountability as opposed to shareholder accountability. The existing management programs, therefore, you can see, fail to address some of the critical industry needs and will need to be creatively addressing these gaps if they wish to remain relevant to their most important customer, which is the industry. To incorporate the much needed aspect of learning to do, there are some interesting experiments that are being tried. I would like to cite the one initiated by the MIT, which began in the year 2000, which is called the G-Lab. G-Lab links teams of second-year MBA students with small to medium-sized companies in Africa, China, India, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Working in groups of 4, the students share their knowledge, experience, and research with these business owners over a set of 3 to 4 month period, with no fees incurred by the company. For the first 3 months, all the work is done remotely and for free. Then these teams work on site on identified problems under supervision of these teachers, and then the companies have to spend some money. Students have to compete for a place in the G-Lab, and it has become one of the chief attractions of the program. It may be difficult for open universities with their large and distributed learner populations to have on-site placements in industry. But the Alumni Association could perform a valuable role in enabling the learners of the CEMPA programs to get an insight into evolving industry situation by getting them to analyze select organizational problems that the alumni themselves face within their own organizations. This could be done through online interaction on the LMS or as part of their assignment or project work, whereby both industry and the business school would benefit. One of the leading criticisms of management graduates has been that they are linear thinkers who often lack the flexibility to adapt to evolving organizational or external environment. We therefore, by conscious focus, need to develop among our learners an understanding of change and how to manage this change proactively with accountability. Another important requirement is that of developing leadership and entrepreneurial skills, as well as a strategic focus, a systems orientation, so that they can compete globally. Fortunately, your program has significant coverage on these themes, and we need to identify ways of enabling practice of these concepts, either through live projects, imaginative assignments, or case studies. It is very good to know that OUSL has already taken some steps in this direction by incorporating industry-based case studies for their learners, which have been developed locally. I look forward to a very active alumni association, creating not only a resource for the university that helps placements and recognition of the program, but also a sustainable and growing network that can provide increasing returns of value to both industry and the university through its contribution to the CEMBA program. Once again, I wish you great success in your efforts to strengthen the program through this welcome development of establishing the Alumni Association. Thank you.